Born as a railroad town in the 19th century, Atlanta famously burnt down during the Civil War and was a fountainhead for the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s as the home city of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Beginning with the Olympics in 1996, downtown Atlanta has been regenerated with world-beating visitor attractions like the Georgia Aquarium and World of Coca-Cola. While the in-town cityscape is now threaded with greenery thanks to the Atlanta Beltline. This project has turned abandoned railroad tracks and empty lots into green corridors, and revitalized industrial architecture. In this video, you'll see the top 10 things to see and do in Atlanta. The suggestions are based on our several exciting trips to the City of Angels. Here are our top 10 picks. Begin with number 1, Stone Mountain Park. The most visited tourist attraction in the state of Georgia is set around an awe-inspiring natural landmark. The bulging stone mountain is a monadnock, a mighty quartz monzonite dome, 5 miles in circumference, and caused by an upwelling of magma 300 to 350 million years ago. The human history of the encompassing Stone Mountain Park is mired in controversy. It opened in 1965 on the 100th anniversary of President Lincoln's assassination, and the north face bears a 1.57-acre bas-relief, the largest in the world, of 3 Confederate figures, Jefferson Davis, Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. Number 2 is the Georgia Aquarium. If you're like me and love zoos and aquariums, you're gonna love the Georgia Aquarium. It's the largest aquarium in the world from 2005 to 2012 and is the only attraction outside of Asia to hold the world's largest fish, the whale shark. The tank for this species is so big that the remainder of the attraction was constructed around this habitat. I recommend trying to catch one of the 2 whale shark talks each day for deeper insights on this species. Another giant here is the beluga whale, which the aquarium keeps in a deep main habitat with 3 interconnected areas. There are 7 galleries and exhibits in all, housing more than 100,000 individual animals from 700 species. Number 3, Atlanta Botanical Garden. Towards the north side of Piedmont Park, the Atlanta Botanical Garden is brimming with themed gardens and attractions. The first thing I suggest to see is the Fuqua Orchid Center, which houses the largest collection of orchids on permanent display in the United States. Within, check out the Tropical Display House, rich with the scent of orchids from all ends of the earth, and the Tropical High Elevation House, growing orchids found at elevations of 4,000 and 10,000 feet. The Dorothy Chapman Fuqua Conservatory is a treat too, supporting rainforest and desert habitats, as well as live animals like turtles, colorful birds and poison dart frogs. Number 4, Centennial Olympic Park. The catalyst for downtown Atlanta's regeneration, the Centennial Olympic Park was laid out as a gathering place for the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. This 21-acre park in the heart of downtown was redesigned for everyday use at the end of the Games, and is bordered by many of the city's top attractions and venues. It remains a place of celebration, hosting the Wednesday Wind Down, a series of weekly summer concerts, and Atlanta's Independence Day concert and fireworks display. It's impossible to overstate the amount of change that this area has witnessed in the last 30 years. Number 5 in our list, Zoo Atlanta. One of only 4 zoos in the United States to keep giant pandas, Zoo Atlanta was a struggling enterprise in the 1980s but has bounced back in style. If there's a marquee animal at this treasured attraction, it's the gorillas of the Ford African rainforest. In 2019, there was a troop of 19 western lowland gorillas, while the Living Treehouse exhibit in the same area features a variety of lemurs, small primates, and an aviary with African bird species. Many family favorites like African elephants, lions, giraffes, zebras and black rhinos await at African plains, while lurking in the Asian forest are Sumatran tigers. Number 6. Piedmont Park. Undulating hills and miles of paved trails in the shadow of Atlanta's skyscrapers, Piedmont Park is an urban park any city would be proud of. This former country residence was the scene of two major expositions in the late 19th century, and at the turn of the century was redesigned by the sons of Frederick Law Olmsted, the man who landscaped New York's Central Park. Piedmont Park is joined to the Atlanta Beltline's East Side Trail, and you can rent a bike to glide through the greenery. There are expertly planned playground for kids, Mayor's Grove and Noguchi Place Cape are fabulous, as well as facilities for every sport you can think of. Number 7. Martin Luther King Jr. National Historical Park. Over 35 acres just east of downtown Atlanta, the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historical Park is dotted with places tied to Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement in Atlanta. By the King Center for Nonviolent Social Change, you can pay your respects at the tomb of MLK and his wife Coretta Scott King, which sits at the center of a reflecting pool, with an eternal flame burning close by. The center itself presents King's nonviolent message via audiovisual material, as well as through King's preserved writings. The Visitor Center at 449 Auburn Avenue hosts the interactive exhibition, Courage to Lead, which tracks the converging paths of MLK and the civil rights movement. Number 8. Delta Flight Museum. Opened to the public in 2014, the Delta Flight Museum is at the airline's world headquarters near the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. The exhibitions are in two cavernous maintenance hangars from the 1940s and have lots of things to dazzle aviation fanatics. In Hangar 1 is the Monroe Cafe, a full-size replica of Delta's first headquarters in Monroe, Louisiana during the 1930s. Also here is Delta Ship 41, one of Delta's first Douglas DC-3s, flying for the airline from 1940 to 1958. The Spirit of Delta Boeing in Hangar 2 was purchased in 1982, becoming Delta's first ever Boeing 767-200. Number 9. SkyView Atlanta. Just off the south end of Centennial Olympic Park, Atlanta has its own giant Ferris wheel, 200 foot tall and a relaxing way to see downtown's towers. SkyView Atlanta has enclosed, air-conditioned cabins and you get forced slow-motion revolutions. The ideal time to ride the wheel is after dark, preferably around 2100 hours when you can watch Centennial Olympic Park's Fountain of Rings show from above. If you'd like to upgrade, there's a VIP gondola with a glass floor and Ferrari-style leather seats. Finish with number 10, Georgia State Capitol. A bold reference point for the city, the Georgia State Capitol, 1889, echoes the neoclassical lines of the United States Capitol in Washington but has a gleaming 23-karat gold dome almost 23 meters in diameter. This is the main office building for Georgia's government, housing the General Assembly, Senate and House of Representatives, as well as offices for the Governor, Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of State. You can go in from 8 to 1700 hours on weekdays for self-guided tours. Up on the third floor are public view galleries over the legislative chambers and a museum, which opened the year the Capitol was completed. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite things to do in Atlanta? Is there something we missed? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to Greenable if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.